Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for checking it out. My name is Steve Herman. I'm the author of Mediumship Mastery, The Ultimate Guide. This is my book on mediumship development and training, which is available on Amazon. And because you're checking out my channel, really the whole purpose of this YouTube channel is mediumship development and training. I work as a medium full-time. I've been involved in spiritualism and mediumship for quite a few decades now, pretty much most of my life, and I'm really into the training aspect of it, not just intellectually, but really on a practical type of level. And mediumship, it is something which is scientific, and a lot takes place. People sometimes get into this and they just barely touch the surface in terms of their own unfoldment. They can even stay involved in mediumship for decades and never really proceed past a certain plateau. So when we train as mediums, when we work as mediums, we want to be the best possible vehicle for the higher spirits to work through, because we're doing God's work here in this physical world. A lot of people get into clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, the primary mental phases of mediumship, but there's a lot of other different phases of mediumship. Mediumship is multifaceted. And people don't always understand that when you sit, whether it's alone, by yourself individually, or in a circle or a group situation, well, a lot takes place that you might not even be aware that's taking place. They work with your chemistry. They work with your vibrations and energies, and they attune their minds and their energies to your mind. So sometimes people will sit, they want to be able to see the spirits, but they're not really thinking of it as teamwork. How the spirits are learning how to work with us, just as we're learning how to work with them. But also, a lot of subtle changes take place, not just on an energetic level, but also even on a physiological level. And just like someone goes through pregnancy here in this physical world, there may be certain cravings for certain types of foods based on the needs of nutrients. Or if someone has different deficiencies, they'll crave certain foods, this type of thing. Well, it's because there's certain chemicals that are involved that are necessary for the development or for the production of different types of phenomena or phases of mediumship. So we have spirit doctors, we have spirit chemists, and they work with us. Now, people don't really always understand this, but you're sitting in the power. Maybe you do this every day, hopefully on your own. Spend a half hour or an hour just sitting there, connecting to the spirit world, connecting to the higher vibration. Or you're sitting in a group, and ideally, why do we have a closed group? Because the energy, becomes very harmonious and cohesive, the longer the same group of people sit together, especially close friends or family. If there's energetically a really good connection with people, well, there's a lot that's going to take place every single time you sit. And of course, if we're talking about over a period of time of sitting with the same people, well, there is so much that the spirits can do. Sitting in a circle, it's not just a one-off situation. It's really cumulative. It's an ongoing process. And sometimes, the results aren't always apparent right away or initially. Someone sometimes can sit in a group and it seems like the energy is flat, maybe for a period of time. Oh, nothing's taking place. Well, that's not true. A lot's taking place. Why? Because they're working the chemistry. So they blend their energies with you. They combine your energy with the other energies of those who you're sitting with, who you're developing with. Now, I like to joke that you can catch mediumship. Just like we have this COVID virus, you can catch the COVID virus, or you can catch the bubonic plague, or something like this, some type of pandemic or disease. Well, you can also catch mediumship. Why? If you're meditating, you're sitting for development with other individuals who maybe possess certain phases of mediumship. Say they wanted to, you want to develop levitation, right? They're going to work with you, levitate you, or levitate objects. They can do things like this. Well, if you're sitting in a group with someone who's already developed, that individual has chemistry, that individual has vibration, that they're able to extract and they're able to utilize to enhance your energy, to add on to your energy. So they're actually putting energy, they're putting chemistry into your physical body and your subtle bodies. And they're removing blocks if there's blocks. We see this taking place all the time with mediumistic healing, right? Spiritual healing. We see this with the physical phenomena where they dematerialize physical objects, right? Speed up the molecular structure and then they apport or materialize physical objects after they've teleported them from a distance into the seance room. And they can do the same thing. Someone has a disease, right, or some type of physiological ailment or condition that's measurable. On a physical level, they can remove the cancerous tumor. They can dematerialize the arthritic deposits in the joints of your hand and your wrist. Can you imagine that? So that's chemistry. I remember one of my students, this is years ago, she was sitting in the First Spiritualist Church of Springfield in Massachusetts, which no longer is in its present form that it was back then. And she was sitting in the dark in the basement, pitch dark with this one circle. And she just has really lousy eyesight, this particular student, this one young woman. Far-sighted, nearsighted, really thick glasses. So anyway, so she's sitting. She had her glasses off, of course, but she was sitting. Everyone's sitting in the silence. The power was building up. And in her clairvoyant vision, she saw an image of orange carrots. Right in her clairvoyant, right in her third eye, clairvoyant vision. The next thing she knew, she physically felt as if a needle was being stuck right into one of her eyes, physically. Very creepy, very uncomfortable. But what do you think was happening? Well, these spirit doctors were doing an injection. So they can inject you this way. Sometimes we have healing, on the physical type of level. Right? We have the spirit operations, and you'll feel the needles. The individual who's the recipient will actually experience the sensation of needles, like they're getting literally an injection. In the Philippines, there's a lot of the psychic surgery. I used to do a lot of work in the Philippines because spiritualism, mediumship is massive in the Philippines. I love it there. So many mediums, so many spiritualist centers, so much work to be done in terms of working with the spirit world. But there's mediums there that would work, literally stick their fingers, right? Barehanded surgery, the psychic surgery. And of course, they can work with this. But you don't have to necessarily stick your fingers into someone, stick your hand into someone's stomach in order for the spirits to actually work and do the work. That is more for demonstration of those who are doubting Thomases to turn around their mindset to actually believing in the phenomena and believing in the reality of life after death and a higher existence. But in this situation in the Philippines, you have these injections, and sometimes you even have what we call a psychic blood transfusion. So it's just like if they were controlling me, right? They put my finger up to the finger of the recipient, and the recipient will literally feel like a pulsation, like waves, almost physical type of energy, move through my arm, move down through my finger into their finger, and up into their arm, as if they're literally experiencing a physical blood transfusion. What do you think is happening there? Well, they're working with the chemistry. And of course, the chemistry can be used for curative purposes to enhance the physical and emotional health of someone, but they also work with your mediumship. Right? They work with your chemistry. And your spirit doctors, your spirit chemists will influence you what to eat. They will draw you towards certain things. But even more so, when you're sitting, they will work with you with the energy. And really, good mediumship, a good vehicle for the spirit world, is very balanced, body, mind, and soul. They're not emotionally off the deep end. They're not mentally unhealthy. They're not physically unhealthy. All of those things go together for being the best possible channel you can be. That's why you have to take care of yourself as a medium. And we can, you need to live a balanced life. You don't want to be dysfunctional. If you need therapy, you need to get it. But it's all about healing, and it's all about helping individuals be the best possible channel. So, we sit in some type of group, and they enhance your vibration, and they may add certain beneficial chemicals, right? On an etheric level. We usually think of just chemicals in terms of the physical world, but we know that the subtle body, that the subtle energies are a blueprint for what takes place here in this physical world. So we sometimes, when we sit with mediumship, it's a really good thing to have some water. Maybe you have it right by you. Some people say you need to put it by your left side because that's when they work with the chemistry. You can put it underneath your chair, to the side, wherever. The positioning is not so important. But when you have that water there, maybe even a pitcher of water, they add beneficial chemicals to that water. So you drink it afterwards. And it's quite amazing. I've done a lot of work, oftentimes with the groups I teach. You can do this just measuring with dowsing rods, for example. Energized water compared to unenergized water. The field of energy totally is altered by just putting the life force into the water. But it's not just the life force. There's actual helpful chemicals that will actually help and enhance the medium's health and well-being, but also that will help bring about the changes necessary for the unfoldment of certain phases of mediumship. When's the quickest time to develop mediumship? It's during puberty and menopause. Why? Because of all the natural hormonal changes that are taking place. And we talk about the chakras. Well, on a physical level, right, we can see all these different glands, right, the hormonal endocrine system, all these different chakras or energy centers, which relate to different phases of mediumship as well. So we see that during puberty and menopause, due to the natural hormonal changes that are taking place, it's pretty quick, typically speaking. It may be a bit more gradual in other phases, in other periods of life that someone might be going through. So these are some things to think about. Please, if you haven't subscribed, definitely support my channel, and please subscribe. Please share this video with friends. And if you have any questions about mediumship or any comments, please feel free to comment below. Please feel to get hold of me. I teach a lot of programs in person as well as online, and I'm really into the teaching aspect, and I'm definitely into helping you. So God bless you. Thank you so much for watching this video.